The future of Space Marine 2 is looking incredible, as we just got news from Saber's Chief Creative Officer coming to us via IGN, where he sat down and talked story DLC, questions of playing as a chaplain, other titles in the studio's pipeline, and yes, even Space Marine 3. Welcome to the channel. This is LtBuzzLitebeer, and I've got you covered on all the latest from this lengthy interview, along with some community feedback and concerns as well, so stay tuned for those. As always, if you're new here, consider hitting subscribe and ringing that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts, and let's raise the banner as we get completely stuck into all the latest from Space Marine 2. Okay, so it seems these interviews are just going to continue popping off left, right, and center for Saber. As just a few days ago, we had the creative director diving into the development of the game, the lore, how the game was structured over those years of development, and a whole lot more, which, by the way, came to us through a well-played interview. A link to that one down in the video description. And here we are again today. We've got Chief Creative Officer Tim Willits breaking down even more about Space Marine 2 when he sat down with IGN. Success of Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, quote, changes everything, Dev says, and yes, there are ideas for Space Marine 3. While neither Saber nor publisher Focus Entertainment have announced a sales figure for Space Marine 2, Focus has confirmed, listen to this, over 2 million played at launch. In fact, Space Marine 2 is the most played Warhammer video game of any type ever released on Steam, with over 225,000 peak concurrent players on Valve's platform. And I was there at launch. I saw this game. Those numbers were incredible. And why not? Because the game itself is freaking incredible. Not only through the campaign, but also over into the co-op operations and even into some of the PvP, which I've just started to dabble into because right now it's all about operations and that Vanguard life. But yeah, Saber really nailed it here with Space Marine 2. Willits also went on to reveal that the budget for Space Marine 2 was less than half that of Doom Eternal, the last game he was id Software studio director on before leaving to join Saber in 2019. Now, I tried a quick search of this. I could not find out how much the actual costs to develop Doom Eternal were, but I did see that it made $450 million in the first 9 months it was on sale, minus that of microtransactions. So if Space Marine 2 can come in anywhere close to that, what a smashing success for Saber. Further on into this interview, Willits also mentions World War Z, and he's hopeful that Space Marine 2 can climb to those kind of heights, which right now, since World War Z went on sale in 2019, has seen over 25 million players. And personally, I think that the way that Space Marine 2 is going, it will reach that, especially with the current roadmaps and the talk of upcoming DLC. Let's next turn our focus to the studio and, of course, the employees, the members of the dev team that have made this game happen. What kind of expectations are placed upon them? Well, Willits also addresses that. He says, with Space Marine 2, it really does change everything, and that's probably the understatement of this year. During our company party, I gave a little 30-second speech, and I told the whole team, this changes everything we do moving forward. I'm sure he's talking about expectations. From our small games, like our third-party publishing games, to A Quiet Place next month. We also have Toxic Command coming up with Focus soon. Everything that we do now, this changes, and that's certainly that double-edged sword of success, right? Once you hit the big time and now everybody knows your name, they're going to expect that level of success and polish with everything you do moving forward. So yes, with success, you also get all the accolades with it, but you also get those heightened expectations. And it's going to be interesting to see if Saber can keep bringing that level of desire and polish to their upcoming products. Of course, with the launch and the stratospheric rise to glory for this game, there's a lot of external focus now placed on the entire 40K universe. The sales are up, even far beyond what Saber thought the game was going to do. And of course, with all of those extra sales means extra revenue generated, which the studio can then turn around and push back into future development far beyond what they had originally planned. Here's what Willits had to say about it. He says, in practical terms, the success of Space Marine 2 means Saber staff can now dream bigger. Dream bigger to me says we're going to extend and broaden those plans. Saber will make good on its original post-launch plan, which involves new missions, modes, maps, enemies, and weapons, which we all saw laid out in that post-launch roadmap. But it will also make adjustments fueled by Space Marine 2's now confirmed success once the dust settles. There is now the possibility of story DLC, with ideas floating around for a potential Space Marine 3. What are we, 3 weeks after SM2's launch, and they're already talking about the potential of getting started on SM3. That would be a great topic for chat. How do you feel about that? Do you just want to see a massive and continual string of DLC and expansions for SM2, or do you want to see them just go straight into SM3? For me, I'm thinking we stay with SM2. This game is banging right now. I'd like to see it expand. I'd like to see different chapters, different factions. Just let's blow this thing wide open. And let's finish up that last little bit of what IGN and Willits had to say about SM2 into SM3. It says, without spoiling the Space Marine 2 campaign, it strongly suggests a continuation, and then they have brackets, IGN has reported, on the probably new faction we'll see in Space Marine 3. And given the success of the game, this is now a case of when, not if. So, wow, a lot just raining down from the heavens right there. Not only is the game exceeding far beyond what the studio thought it was going to, and not only are they going to deliver on their original post-launch plans, but now they're making adjustments. What does that say? This game sold a hell of a lot better than they thought it would, and now they're diving into story DLC. They're floating plans of a Space Marine 3, which I guess from this point backwards was not a certainty, but because the game has sold so well, they can not only continue with Space Marine 2, but possibly look into SM3. Again, I'm going to jump back to that question I posed to chat just a few seconds ago. Do you want more Space Marine 2, or do you want to see them just hop straight into Space Marine 3? Leave me some feedback on that one. You know where I stand, but I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Let's finish up with the last little bit that they discuss Space Marine 2 here in the IGN article. And by the way, if you want to read this for yourself, it's actually a pretty short read. I'll include the link to it down in the video description because the rest of this is kind of focused in on Saber in general, the different projects they have in the pipeline. But Willits does have a little bit more to say about Space Marine 2. In the shorter term, Saber is working on adding new classes, which will be released for free and hopefully will add some variety to Space Marine 2's gameplay. Willits wouldn't be drawn on which classes are coming, though fans are hopeful for a chaplain or an apothecary. Oh my god, yes, I would love to play as a chaplain. The post-launch plan, though, is informed by the continued success of World War Z, which has retained a loyal player base through the release of new and free classes in the years since launch. Again, I would love to be able to rock a chaplain out there in operations or possibly in some sort of new story DLC. And again, I pose this question to chat. What kind of additional classes would you like to see added on over into operations? I've been really enjoying that Vanguard life, that grapple hook, scooting and shooting all over the battlefield, but the more the merrier when it comes down to classes. If we can keep those operations fresh, new classes, new missions, new rewards, I mean, that is something that I can just play over and over and over again. And I know that a lot of you are also mixing in there the PvP. But not everything is going as some players would hope over there in operations, and I found two specific instances of this over on the Space Marine 2 Reddit. This first one says, I don't play Chaos Ops because of one thing, and they give a bunch of feedback. Listen to this. It says, I play Assault. I don't mind the Marines teleporting. I think it's cool. I enjoy violent peekaboo. I don't mind the Scorchers. I enjoy shooting the eye on their shield and then curb stomping them. So far, I love all of this. I really like headshotting traitor guardsmen who think they can pot shot me. Traitor termies are super awesome. Termies are tanky and hard hitting as they should be. Now listen to this. The buck stops with these tiny bird goats and their tiny shields not getting crushed by heavy attacks. Give blocking to just Majoris Plus. Killing these guys are exhausting, boring for me. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. Yeah, of all the classes out there in operations, Assault is not just a class that I played the least, it's the class that I've not played at all. But is this a thing? Are there Ultramarines out there dropping heavy attacks that are not breaking the guard of what sounds like he's describing as Zongors? Is this a thing? Is there a balance issue right now with heavy attacks, especially when it comes to the Assault class? For those of you rocking this class, let me know. Is this something the developers need to get on? I'm looking forward to reading some feedback on this because when it comes to this, I'm completely out of the know. So definitely fill me in. And the second item I wanted to quickly highlight from the Space Marine Reddit is this one. It says, are they doing anything to combat people kicking at the end of games? So this is a long, lingering issue with Space Marine 2 and especially with operations. By the way, this video that they've posted over there on the subreddit, it's about 53 seconds long. It's labeled as NSFW. Definitely do not play this at work because the host that is hollering this stuff across the mic is not being kind. The player that's recording is not responding, and that was one of the things they were required to do. If they did not respond over the mic, they were getting kicked, and they got kicked right at the end of the operation. So definitely don't play this at work because, again, it's NSFW. But yeah, Saber really needs to do something about this. Even if it's just the players who are being kicked, especially right at the end of an operation, they deserve to get all that XP, any of those resources, etc., etc. They deserve to get it. They made it through the entire operation, and just because the host was being an a-hole doesn't mean they should be precluded from receiving all their rewards. All right, sadly, that's all we've got time for today, and look for the top 3 comments to return in my next Space Marine 2 video. That's something that I do on all my Helldivers videos. You guys, my viewers, seem to like it, and we're going to get it started once I get enough comments on this first video. Remember to hit subscribe and ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. All my socials, including links to all of today's sources, can be found down in the video description. The channel is rapidly approaching 245,000 subscribers, with our massive end goal being 250K. It's right around the corner. The end is in sight. And if you haven't done so already, take just a moment to hit subscribe. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.